Well, how's it going, everybody? This is Dylan with Dylan Talks Tone. This is our weekly live show on Friday where we talk about all kinds of fun stuff. We got people blowing me up. We've been busy this week. It's been super, super fun in the shop. We've been busy around the house. I'll give you a little story about that. I am selling my Kemper. We are going to talk about some crazy guitar ideas. We are going to go through some FAQs from previous videos, and we are going to talk about some Telecaster saddle stuff that keeps coming up in the comments. We're going to talk about some technical stuff today too. So it's going to be really, really fun. Thanks for hanging out. If you're new to this channel, this is not our normal format. We only do this on Fridays. The rest of it is all guitar tech stuff, troubleshooting stuff, helping you to get your guitar set up correctly, all that kind of stuff. Really, really fun. Throughout the show, there is a live chat going on. So you can go ahead and leave comments in the live chat. And that will continue to accumulate, and we will come back to it, and we will answer questions, and we will have a bunch of fun together. I want it to be as interactive as possible. That is what we do on Fridays. So make sure you hit the chat right there. Make sure you hit the chat and hang out with us. And if you leave a super chat for us, we would really appreciate that. And then I will 100% make sure that we get your question answered. It kind of puts you to the top of the pile, so to speak. So that's it. That's what we're doing today. And so I want to just double check really quick here that we've got everything going the way we want it to go. It looks like we're on. Oh, excellent. All right, well, I'll tell you what. So here's a couple of crazy things we're going to talk about guitar-wise. First of all, before we even get into any of that, I put my house up for sale yesterday. Is it yesterday? Is today Friday? Thursday? It went live Wednesday. So Wednesday night, we put our house up for sale. If you follow our Music and Mascara YouTube channel, over the next few months, you're going to see some stuff that we've been shooting over there. It's not up yet. I'm still working on it. I'll tell you a little story kind of about what we're doing here. We're making a bunch of changes. You've probably seen in our videos that the studio has changed. We've minimized a bunch of stuff. I'm actually shooting a video right now. I started it this morning on the setup that we're using, and we're going to talk about some of the reasons why today that we are making some changes. Obviously, I'm selling a Kemper, so that's a huge thing. Then I've loved that thing the whole time I've had it. So we're going to talk about that at some point here as well. It's really kind of, it's just time to make some changes. So all good, all positive and fun, but nevertheless, it is gonna affect the channel. It's gonna affect our business. It's gonna affect what we do here. And so, yeah, I'm pretty excited about it, though. Really excited about it. And I hope the house sells like immediately so that we can continue to go on to our next steps. Because I think it's really going to allow us to be more active in the business as well as in the content space. So I'm really, really excited about those sorts of possibilities. So that's what's going on with that. If you've not seen our Facebook page, please check it out. All of the Facebook pages, you'll see what's going on. Just kind of follow and you'll know what's up. Okay, the Esp Godzilla. Who has seen this thing on the internet? Celebrating 65 years of Godzilla. This is a band, I believe. There's a guy plays in a band in I think Japan. I can't remember. Yes. It's ridiculous, but it is definitely a showcase of what custom shops can and should, in my opinion, do to make crazy, outrageous stuff. I don't know. I just think it's great. I think if you are inspired to make a design, that you should do it. No matter the conventional of anything, even if you only have one. Now, I think this thing's going to be like $51,000 or something. But look at some of these pictures, man. I mean, look at that. It's insane what is here. And I know it's ridiculous. I know it is. I don't care. I don't care that it's ridiculous. I just think it is so cool. The detail, all of the stuff surrounding it. Look at that thing, man. Anyway, would you play it? No, probably not. Would you? It would be a piece of art in your house, you know? I mean, it wouldn't really necessarily be, it doesn't get very much bigger. You know, it's a collector thing, but I just think it's really cool. So that was something that I saw this week that I was like, man, I don't know. It just popped out at me. I think yesterday I was like looking through some stuff and I found that. And then the other thing that we're going to talk about, speaking of blowing the doors off conventional, have you seen, I'm going to actually, can I mute this? Well, maybe. Here, I'll just show the stills. Here, give me 1 second to get this in the right spot. Okay, so have you seen the Boaz, whatever this is called, the Boaz guitar? So basically, this is a Kickstarter, and it's a plastic modular guitar, and you can instantly on the fly change out pickups. I think they use Kent Armstrong pickups, which as far as cheap off the shelf, you know, Asian made pickups go, they're okay, you know. This is not for the tone freak. This is not for the tone head. This is for somebody. These things are I think with the Kickstarter thing, you can get one of these things for $300. This is not a tone snob guitar by any means. This is for somebody who wants to play guitar, have a little variety in their life, but doesn't want to totally commit to all the stuff that we do every day. And I really like this concept. I like the fact that it is accessible. I like the fact that you can mess around with it. Is it a little crazy and dumb by some standards? Yes, but they had a $20,000 goal, and they are at $307,000. So if you think that new and insane ideas like this, it's a plastic guitar. If you think ideas like this aren't going to stick, you got another thing coming, because they are crushing this goal. This is really, really cool. Is it something that I would buy and play? Probably not. Is it something that somebody will buy? Yeah. A lot of people are going to buy this guitar. This is very, very cool. Is there going to be other iterations of it and evolution of this technology in, you know, non-wood products, you know, like Richlite and other composites and stuff like that? Yeah, this is coming. This is absolutely coming. This stuff right here, what you're seeing right here, and then with digital implants of some sort, maybe MIDI pads, maybe all kinds of things to make all kinds of music with a guitar. This stuff is coming, and I really, really, really like it. I think this is absolutely, you know, this is like first gen, like low budget, beginner, entry level, but that's what they want it to be. If we want people to play guitar, we want to give them a way that they want to play guitar. If you take, and I've said this many times, you've heard me say it many times, if you take a new guitar player and tell him what he has to have and give him, like, feed his head full of vintage garbage, he's not going to stick with it, because nobody can afford that stuff. And most people do not care, or, as we're going to talk about later in this show, do not actually know what they're talking about. And so they just go by stupid marketing stuff and make decisions based on that, and they go based on what's said in Facebook groups and guitar groups and stuff, when in actuality somebody that buys this guitar for $300 is going to just play it. They're not going to care, and the only thing that's going to happen is their friends, you, are going to tell them that it's stupid and ruin it for them. So don't do that. Don't do that. just don't ever do that to anybody that's playing guitar. I mean, it's just I wouldn't do it. It's just not nice, right? Just not being nice. That's all it is. We should just be nice to people. So yeah, so this is really fun. There's only a couple of comments so far. All right, so let's get into a couple of things. We're going to talk about a few FAQs. We're going to get into this Kemper thing. I cannot have my phone laying on the desk because it vibrates the entire time. People are bugging me and texting me and calling me. And if you Facebook message me a question during this live show, I will not answer it. It has to go through the YouTube channel so that I can see it more easily on the computer. I cannot be checking my phone during this thing. So if you Facebook message me or text me right now, some people do get my number off the internet, which, obviously I love to be accessible to you. But for this purpose, we're only doing it this way. So that's what we got going. Okay. Let's talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about some FAQs that I got in my inbox, in the YouTube inbox, this week. Hang on one second. I'm not going to put these up for you. I am just going to share them. Okay. Okay. Denise Morrison. I just had to share this because I thought it was fun. Based on your video views, not many people like your channel. Good job. Keep up the good work. Yeah, obviously, because we tell the truth around here, we don't sugarcoat anything. And if I think an idea is stupid, or if I think you should try something, or if I think somebody is doing something just because somebody told them and not because they were inspired, I will say it. And as a result of that, I don't have 1 million subscribers. I'm 100% for sure that's why. But I don't care. I would rather be honest with you, and I would rather tell it like it is, and have you, friends, there with me than 1 million other people who are looking for a yes man, because I'm not that guy. I'm just not that guy. Another pick. Let's see. Another one that came up. Let's see. Simon Brooks. Hi, is there a correct way to store guitar pickups? Okay, so this was in relation to a couple of videos. I saw him post on a couple of videos. On our guitar storage video, talking about how to store guitars, like humidity and all that kind of stuff. Keep them in the case when you can. Have a player out in the living room so that you're playing all the time. But keep them in the case when you can. Watch the humidity. 45 to 55% would be great if you can handle it. Electric guitars, it doesn't matter as much, but acoustic guitars for sure. Try to keep it in that range. Use a humidifier if you need to. But getting specifically to his question about pickups, because he was asking about, I've seen a lot of people will, use other magnets around their pickups and stuff, and it's ruined it. We did a video on that. What I would say for storing pickups is if you have the original boxes to store pickups in, just leave them in those. If you clack a bunch of them together, like all the magnets, over time, if they are Alnico magnets, they will degrade. And you can, if you have a bunch of stuff stacked, you can mess up the polarity of an Alnico magnet if you have them like opposing each other sitting in a drawer for a really long time, but they have to be very, very close. So if you have a box, a pickup box is only a couple inches bigger than the pickup, right? That will be enough space. A lot of people think that these magnets are super strong and that they can be affected by other stuff they're not. We have that whole video about, the strength of the magnet pulling on the string and how that's a bunch of garbage. So of a correctly adjusted pickup. So that should give you some idea, anything outside of this far away isn't going to have a whole lot of effect on the pickup at all. And so just leave it in the original box or a small box like that, and then throw them in a drawer. I would definitely, ceramic pickups aren't going to matter at all. So if you have a bunch of old pickups from lower priced guitars, for example, or if you play a lot of metal and you use ceramic pickups and they're the black, kind of looks like black plastic, sort of like the magnets that go in your shower curtain, you know, that black refrigerator magnet looking stuff. Those are ceramic and they will not demagnetize. So it doesn't really matter. Like they won't change a whole lot they won't degrade a whole lot from their original state. However, an Alnico magnet, which looks more like a regular raw metal, will degrade over time and can be affected by outside magnetic forces. So if you have a bunch of, and the way to tell the difference is a ceramic magnet is going to usually have two little bars on the bottom, like long bars. Even if it's a single coil. So like a lower priced Stratocaster or a Squire will have, it'll look like a Strat pickup, but when you flip it over, it'll have like an 11 of magnets, like two long magnets going down the bottom. That's a ceramic magnet. You can chuck that in a drawer. It won't hurt anything. If it is a proper magnet, like a vintage Fender pickup or a, some sort of custom shop pickup where you know it's Alnico magnets, you're going to want to take a little more care. Make sure you don't clack them all together in a big pile because you could mess with it that way. So go ahead and just leave them in a little box. And it, again, only having an inch of space between them or something like that is all you need. You don't need tons of space. You just need to have them in a little box so that they're not just clacked together directly. And that's it. That's it. I have literally had stacks of magnets that were pre-magnetized stored in a drawer for a really long time that I was going to like use on another build later. And I have noticed degradation in them. Fortunately, Alnico magnets can be recharged and repolarized if they lose their charge. The problem with that is most people don't know how to accurately do it to where it kind of like went back to where it started. So if you have one that's lost its magnetism, which doesn't happen very often, very rarely, if ever, does this happen, you can put that between two strong, like real strong magnets, and which is what we use to magnetize them in the first place, and you can return the polarity and the magnetism to the right strength. But oftentimes it will sound different than it originally did because you didn't get the gauze of the magnet 100% right. So you don't want to create that circumstance in the first place if you can help it. So there's just a little tutorial on that stuff. Let's see. Hang on one second. All right. Just checking the FAQ section here. Okay, so the other thing we're going to talk about today on the FAQ side of things is we're going to discuss, there's one more, and there's one more FAQ. And I may actually, let me try. How can I do this? Hell, I won't be able to do it. So we're going to talk about this Telecaster stuff, the Telecaster saddle experiment that we did. Now we got a lot of requests because I didn't do like a blind taste test, and I kind of regret that because this is hilarious. We got tons of comments on this video. And what's interesting about it is we go back to this whole thing about what people think they know about tone. And the majority of people were wrong again about why things sound the way they sound. And it's just really, really interesting. It was a really interesting thing. Eric Hine, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. I actually commented back on his comment the other day, 2 days ago, and I told him we will address this comment and questions series in this next video, which is right now, because he had some really interesting questions about how we did the experiment. Because I get attacked quite often, actually, in the comments, you didn't test it right. You didn't do it right. And my answer normally to those people is start a YouTube channel, get your iPhone out, do the test the way you think it should be done, tag me in it, and then I will share it. Because I went to this work, I spent this money, you should do the same. I will do as much as I can, but if you challenge my results or my methods, then challenge me. Make a video, tag me in it, I will share it. If you did it better than me, and if there's a way to show other results and learn other things, obviously I'm going to help you promote that, because that's what this is all about. So, but don't just attack me in the comments for no reason and then don't back it up. That's the thing. Okay, so that being said, Eric Hine did not do any of that stuff, but he did ask a couple of very challenging questions, which were relevant, I believe, to this video. So if you're not familiar with the video, we took 4 different saddles, brass, aluminum, zinc-plated steel, and Graphtec, and we put them in the same guitar with the same set of strings, and we did a test, and we played them all different. I will be editing together, in no particular order that was different from the original, a blind taste test, and put it on YouTube and let you guys try it again in the comments. Here's a couple of questions. He actually asked 10 questions about this. Did you time the decay of the various setups with a stopwatch? No, because as you've heard me say many times in videos, using sustain of a note to understand the quality of the tone is stupid in most cases. Nobody plays 9-second long notes. And if this saddle went 9.1 seconds and this saddle went 8.7 seconds in sustain, it doesn't matter. You don't play like that. So that is, to me, now if the rate of decay is like, like super shelf on one and not on the other, but they just weren't. They were super close, actually. And as a result, many people in the comments gave a whole bunch of differing opinions of what they thought. I thought the brass sounded this way. I thought the Graphtec stuff sucked. I thought the Graphtec stuff was awesome. I thought the brass was really bright. I thought the brass was really warm and dull. I thought, like, everybody had completely different answers because they were so close. There was many people, actually, a few people, that said, I'd put any of that stuff on my guitar and play it because most people aren't going to be able to tell the difference anyway. So it was so close. Sustain, to me, on these sort of things is a stupid experiment because we don't play like that. That's not real life. Now, if you're an EBO guy and you're playing in church and you have a bunch of like delay on and you're doing that swooshy angel-y stuff, that may be different. But the thing is most of the time you have post-processing help to continue that sustain. See, I call it primary sustain and secondary sustain, where the guitar holds a note for a really long time based on the mechanics of the guitar. So the string height, the fret size, how hard you're fretting it, the nut material, the bridge material, and the mechanics of the string moving, like the weight of the string, all that sort of stuff. To me, that I call that, in my mind, in the mechanics of it. This is not a standard or anything. It's just what I call it in-house, is the primary sustain of the guitar. Then you have the secondary sustain, which is affected by the pickups and the electronics and everything after it. So you put a boost pedal on or you put a compressor on, that's all secondary sustain. Like, you're introducing sustain to it. There's so many factors in that it doesn't matter, because you can make a guitar do what you want it to do unless it is not properly set up. If the guitar is properly set up and it has a good nut and the action is good and there's no fret buzzes and you don't have any loss of energy because of bad fret work or your fingering is lazy or whatever, but if you have a good note, then in post, I say in post, that's like a video thing, but in post, that secondary sustain, you can make the guitar do whatever you want it to do. So it's sort of irrelevant as long as the guitar is set up correctly. Other than that, it doesn't matter. And people can go on and on and on and on about tone wood and all this stuff about this wood sustains more than that wood and whatever. But then you get into this whole thing about what are you feeling versus what are you hearing. And we're going to do a video on that. I'm actually looking for the right scientist to talk to about this because I want to be really, really, really careful with this. But the bottom line is, I'm going to put this in just a synopsis. Basically, if I hand you a guitar and you play it and you have the guitar in your lap, we're not talking about an amp, just a vibration. Let's take a telly. And everybody's like, ooh, this really resonates. It has tons of blah, blah, blah. Okay. It must have tone because okay. If I hand you that guitar and you hold it in your lap and you strum a G chord and then you hand it to me and I strum a G chord, you will hear two different things because of how your ear works. Vibration to your body versus vibration from across the room. That is science. I do not have all the details to put that video together, but it's something I've been working on. And so you will see this at some point. But the bottom line is what you feel versus what you hear are two different things. And just because you have a guitar in your hand and you think it resonates, which is a stupid thing too, but loss of energy changes the tone. Sort of. If you feel it or hear it. We're going there. We are going to go there. I just have to do it right. Okay. So that whole thing about decay of setup of the stopwatch and all that, it's not dumb. That's why I didn't do it. You can argue with me in comments if you want, but I'm not going to change my mind. Unless you show me a really good reason, but probably not. Number 2, did you mimic the string heights? Yes, I did legitimate, proper, perfect setups for every saddle change. Did you mimic the string heights with a radius gauge and a capo on the first fret? Yes, I did a proper setup every time. Set the intonation, set the radius of the strings, string height, and I checked the neck relief, which didn't change because it was the same set of strings. Did you secure the tone and volume settings with Scotch tape? I think he's probably talking about about on the amp and on the guitar. I put the volume and the tone at 10, and I used an identical. So for all of my videos that I make with any kind of sound, for the most part, I will tell you what profile I'm using with the Kemper. And I use, it's a Fender 65 Fender Super Reverb, with no compression added, with, I have it right here, with no compression added, with a tube screamer or not, and a little bit of slapback delay. On this video, I actually turned the slapback delay off and we just used a little bit of room reverb. So, there was no, and the reason I mention that is because if I leave the knobs alone and just turn it on and off, it never ever changes. So that is why I use it, because it's a 100% baseline. Did you tin the strings? I don't know what that means. So in the comments, if anybody knows what that means, I don't think so, because I don't know what it means to do that. Did you capture a direct dry signal? We just went over the signal chain. Yeah, so yes. With a little reverb, because dry signal's dumb. If the signal was captured using a microphone, it was not. It was direct. What was the temperature and humidity in the room? The temperature in this room is very controlled. It is approximately 74 degrees Fahrenheit. And I did it in the same room, the same time of day, and I did one right after the other. So this was not like over days of different humidities and different temperatures and stuff like that. This is where I keep my guitars. So, I keep the temperature and the humidity pretty constant in this room. And I literally did it take it apart, put it back together, take it apart, put it back together, take it apart, put it back together, like one right after the other, so that it would be as consistent as possible. Believe me, it was a pain. And this was a video that I really was a pain to do it, but I did it. And I wanted to make sure that I did it 100% right. What kind of tuner did you use? There is a strobe based tuner built in the Kemper that I use all the time, every time. I have checked it against my Peterson. I actually sold my Peterson because I didn't care about it anymore because this thing is so good. What were the string gauges? I used the same set. I never even took the set off the guitar. It's an Ernie Ball 10 to 42 set. 10 to 46, 10 to 42. Diodaro's 10 to 46. These are 10 to 42. 10 to 46? 10 to 46. I think it's 10 to 46. Anyway, same exact set. Didn't even change strings. What kind of string trees were on the instrument? I don't know why this is relevant. And where were they located? No string trees. So I don't use string trees on most of my guitar builds. That was a Dylan custom Tele. I don't use string trees on any of my guitars if I can help it. String trees are an extra friction point, and so we don't like that ever, unless we have a problem based on neck pocket depth, fretboard height, fret height, and nut setup. So that's all a mechanical arrangement. The relation from the string, the bottom of the string, and how it comes over the nut and then goes down to the peg head can be different depending on a lot of things. So if the frets are really small, if the neck pocket is really low in the guitar, and you have other kind of lack of tension situations going on, then sometimes we'll use a string tree, but most of the time I do not. So anyway, I really appreciated his comments because they were thorough. Like, he really did want to know. Thank you for that. He really did want to know how accurately we did this test, and I feel like we did it as best we could. For the circumstances. Obviously, it's something that we try to do. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up with y'all because you guys are going crazy over here. Okay. First of all, before we get to, we're going to go back through your comments. So keep cranking through cranking through and adding as many comments as you want. So let's talk Kemper. I am selling my Kemper powerhead and my remote because I did go ahead and keep. Let me see if I can put this in the shot a little bit better. This is the Kemper stage right here. So let me just tell you a story. So remember last week I said, I was like, or last week or the week before, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get it. I'm going to keep the powerhead, and it is what it is. There's no reason for me to buy another Kemper, and there's no reason for me to move to this thing for just because it's a different form factor. Well, what I didn't tell you was that I had already ordered it, but it was on pre-order and it wasn't supposed to ship until August 20 something. And I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to leave it on order until this Friday. And then this Friday, which was last week, I am going to make the 100% decision whether I'm going to keep it or not. And I said, I'm not going to keep it. I'm just going to go ahead and cancel the back order. And I told you that last Friday. While I am on the air with you, I get an email. Of course, I'm not looking at my phone. I get an email that the thing had shipped already. So then the next thing is, so I emailed him and I was like, I was going to cancel this. And he's like, well, you can just refuse it when FedEx shows up. And then when it comes back, I'll just refund your account. I said, okay. Well, then I got to thinking about it. I'm like, well, the thing's going to show up. I got to open it. I got to look at it. I got to make a video about it. So then I got it out of the package, the Kemper Stage, and I'm like, you know what? This thing is good. It's really good. And so the reason I'm keeping it, it doesn't make sense to most people. Well, first of all, let's address some of the Kemper Stage haters on the internet. Number one, everybody's like, you're gonna spill beer on it. Yeah, you're gonna spill beer on your Strymon timeline. You're gonna spill beer on your Boss, whatever you have. You're gonna spill beer on your DX4. You're gonna spill beer on your Helix. It's all electronics. Everybody's taking their guitar signal, which I think is hilarious. Everybody's taking their guitar signal that they worked so hard to be so traditional about with cloth wire and blah, blah, blah. And they're running it through a bunch of electronics anyway. So whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. Just play the thing and use whatever you have on the floor in front of you and play it. I mean, just do it. So that whole you're going to spill beer on it and you're going to burn it up is the dumbest thing, in my opinion. My pedal board before I bought my first Kemper was probably $4,000 worth of pedals and stuff. I mean, when we're doing all this stuff and buying all this special junk, and so it's all expensive. It's not, none of it's cheap. And everybody's like, well, $1,700, that's a lot of money. Well, yeah, but so is if you go get a Fender, like a Fender Princeton Reverb reissue and a few pedals, you're at $1,700. So whatever. Now I have tons of amps. The cool part is I could take a flash drive. I got this little flash drive right here. I could stick this into my old Kemper, and then I can stick it into my new Kemper, and all my stuff just moves. Boom, done. It's over. Like 10 minutes. Super easy. The reason I kept this is because, as you'll see in the next few weeks when we do some videos, I kept it because I like how it looks in videos. That's the dumbest reason I know. However, it's very difficult with the other Kemper because some of the functionality that is on the remote, so like this part where you're actually stomping with your feet, is there. And then up on the head unit, you have all this other stuff, and that functionality doesn't cross over. So to make a video with it and to talk about signal chain and even to use it in a video is difficult because I don't have every function in both places, and then to put it in a camera shot, and then to even just functionally use the thing, you don't see me do it very often because it doesn't lend itself to that. Where this thing, as you'll see over the next couple of weeks, we're going to do some more videos on it. It's great. It works awesome for that. It's not powered, which is a downside, but it's so much more compact. The powered head unit with the floor unit costs about, is about 20 pounds, 19 and a half pounds. This is just shy of 10 pounds. So it's lighter, it's smaller. You could put it on a pedal board if you want, or you could just chuck it on the floor like this. It's great. The UI, the user interface, to me, works better than the regular Kemper. There's a couple of kind of UI features that I really, really like. That'll come out in a video here very shortly, where we get specifically into it and how I use it. There's no point in doing like an A/B test because it sounds the same. It's the same thing. Like the brain and everything is still the same, so that doesn't matter. So who should buy one of these things? I think this thing is for live use. I don't think it's for the studio. If you're going to use a Kemper in the studio, and if you have one already, keep the Kemper you have and just keep using it in the studio. If you're playing live, especially if you're moving around a lot, you're playing a gig here, playing a gig here, playing a gig here, this thing is great. It would be awesome. Provided you do not need a powered cabinet on the stage with you, because if you do, then you'll have to buy like a head rush or something, like a powered monitor wedge to play this into, which would be fine too. Not as good in my opinion as a guitar cabinet, and I know a lot of people will argue with me on that, but I really, really, really liked playing with a guitar cabinet. It just so happens that my needs have changed, and this is the way that I use it. So I absolutely love it, and I've been using it every day since it came in. I still need some more time with it. They have changed some things. I will say I feel like it's simpler to use. I think there's less kind of going on with it than there was before, as far as stuff to mess with and stuff to how do I explain it? Well, there's less buttons overall, which might sound bad because some of the functionality is then moved into the menus. However, the way they've arranged the menus, it makes it to where it's more, the workflow is easier, and it makes more sense to me personally. Some people have said they don't like they think it's too confusing in comparison to like a Helix or something. It's possible. I've not really used a Helix that much, but I personally, after having that Kemper over there, like this one better because of the UI. You can do some fun stuff, like you can they added another effects loop, so you can put like pedals and stuff in front of it in a loop versus just having it come in with the guitar cable. And then also there's another effects loop, obviously, for like, more delays and stuff afterwards. So it's really cool. They've changed a few things and made it more user friendly. You can use a bunch of expression pedals with it. Expression pedal control is different and easier and cooler. You can still profile with it. I was mistaken on that. I was convinced that you could not, because people told me you couldn't, but you can profile with it still, so we can still steal amp souls whenever we want to. It still has a looper. The tuner is still amazing. The buttons are further apart, so you don't like double stomp buttons, which is really cool. No, I love this thing, man. I'm super stoked on it, and I'm glad to have it for sure. Definitely for sure. So if you need a Kemper, let me know, because my powerhead and my remote, as well as my other cabinet, are right over there, and they are for sale. If you need one, let me know. So let me just run through these comments really quick. Not a lot of people commented today, so it should be pretty easy. Thanks for sharing your experiences with us. If you sell your Kemper, it's because you found a better option. Yeah, just another Kemper. Let's see. I wouldn't have seen it if I didn't take the day off. Let's see. I'd like smaller neodymium magnets so that pickup cavities could be smaller. Yeah, but the problem is with that's a pickup design thing. So the problem is when you have lots and lots of magnet with not a lot of coil, doesn't sound right. Cesar Garcia, I don't know what, are you bored? I'm sorry to bore you. Drooling face, does that mean you're bored? I apologize. I don't apologize, actually. We've been having fun. But if you're bored, that's cool. Let's see. You might not be, but I didn't know what drooling face meant. Oh, unless you're just super stoked because you like this Kemper over here and you're drooling too. Guess what? I have one for sale. It's right over there. Anyway, that's that. We're running on about 45 minutes, which is a little longer than I normally go with these things. Thanks for hanging out so much with us today. I really do appreciate it. This has been really fun. Hopefully you got some value from some of this stuff that we talked about today. Have a good weekend. On Monday, we're going to have a cool video. I've got a couple of things I'm shooting right now. I don't know which one I'm coming out on Monday with, actually, to tell you the truth. So I'm working on a few things, and I'm actually shooting some more stuff tonight. So we're constantly shooting. So this is going to be fun. Thanks for hanging out. Make sure you check out Dylan Talks Tone. I would really appreciate it. That's what keeps all this stuff going, and it makes it able for me to do this stuff. Is when you all support DylanTalksTone.com. The link is in the description of this video. And go buy some pickups and try some stuff, man. Do some experimenting, even just some caps and some pots, and just experiment with your guitar. That'd be really sweet. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you soon.